Hi, I'm Olivia.
Hi, I'm Maggie.
And this is Girls Talk Film. This is a podcast about movies where every week we take 3 films that share a similar tone, theme, genre, type of character, and we talk through them and compare and contrast.
And you'll notice that we're not in our typical studio.
Yeah, we're in Maggie's house today.
Yeah. Sometimes, again, life gets in the way and you gotta
trek out to New Jersey.
So this is not our typical setup and it won't be our new setup. So we know it looks a little wonky. Bear with us for this episode. We promise it's a good one.
I mean, fingers crossed.
Yeah. I liked the lineup this week.
Me too. This week we're talking about Greek mythology. We're talking about Troy, Killing of a Sacred Deer, and Hercules. So 3 could not be more different films.
Now, I don't know about you, Olivia, but growing up, I was obsessed with Greek mythology.
Same.
To an embarrassing level.
I think every artsy person now had a Greek mythology phase at one point.
Who was your favorite Greek god, or who was the one you identified with?
That's so difficult. I mean, I liked certain stories, not always certain characters. I love the Hades and Persephone story. I also love
obviously
Narcissus. I'm trying to think.
Do you like Eurydice and Orpheus?
Nah.
Not a Hades Town girl?
No, I was going to say I love Hades Town, the musical, but that story was never one that really grabbed my attention when I was a kid.
Okay.
I guess maybe Artemis. I did always like Artemis's stories.
I was going to say every cool girl liked
Artemis.
To be like Artemis. I was going to say it's she's part of the moon and she's not into finding love.
She only hangs out with other girls.
Yeah, she's so cool. Every lesbian coded girl loves Artemis. I always liked Hestia because I wanted to be so different.
Oh, no, there's actually no way that could have been genuine because there's so little written about Hestia.
It was completely fake.
You're just she's the girl.
I convinced myself because I was well, she's not the Greek god. She's not one of the 12 Greek gods, but she's still powerful and she's earthy. She's a plant girl.
Yeah.
So yeah, I convinced myself that it was her. But
well, when everyone read Percy Jackson when we were kids, because that was our era.
Yeah.
We were children when Percy Jackson was coming out.
I loved those books.
Oh my God, me too. I was so obsessed. But I would always tell people, because, you do a thing with other kids of who's your demigod parent?
Right. What cabin are you in?
Yeah. So I didn't want to choose between Ares because I wanted to be badass.
Yes.
And Aphrodite because I still wanted to be pretty.
Right.
So I was I'm a full god. I have 2 Greek god parents.
Oh, you're one of those kids who's what powers do you have? You're I have all the powers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, exactly. But it really was just because I'm well, I want to be a badass, but I also want to be pretty. And with the logic of Percy Jackson, it's one or the other.
Right. You can't be beautiful and smart or beautiful and badass.
Yes.
Yeah, but I love Greek mythology to this day. And I always love when same thing with why I love Shakespeare so much. I love when classic stories are able to stand the test of time and also able to be adapted into a modern setting.
Agreed. I mean, that's probably why I like Killing of a Sacred Deer so much. I think it's actually a great retelling of a classic story. Our other ones are a little more literal, but both take extreme liberties with the source material that they're supposedly based on.
Yeah, it's actually kind of comical. Yeah, how different they are. I mean, getting right into it, our first film, Troy.
Interesting pick. Okay, so this was before our time a little bit.
2004. So yeah, we were very young.
I know this was a huge blockbuster at the time.
Huge names.
I mean, it was the 8th highest grossing film of 2004. It earned over $497 million, which is the equivalent to over $800 million today.
Yeah, that's insane.
I don't know. Okay, listen, I think I appreciated it for what it was, as it's a movie. It's very of its time. Mm-hmm. Brad Pitt as Achilles, I mean, we'll discuss.
Yeah, we'll get into that,
but he was the main draw of that film at the time. This was right after the Angelina Jolie thing happened.
Yeah. I remember after I watched it, I said to my parents, and we were talking about like what did we like, what I didn't like. And they were like, it's so funny because the actors who I was like, they were really like some of my favorite parts. They were like, it's so crazy because like Brad Pitt was the draw. Like he was the reason why people were going to the theaters.
That's so funny because
those other actors weren't.
That is hysterical. He's my least favorite part of the movie.
He almost ruins the movie for me.
No, he's just so miscast. It's not even funny.
Yeah, I actually think I would really enjoy the movie. Not love it, but I think I would like it a lot more than I did had a better actor or a more fitting actor been Achilles.
I also think there's something to adapting something like the Iliad is into a film that is legible for today's audiences, not using any of the classic text, like using your own text but basing the story off of the Iliad is a very difficult thing to do. Kind of makes me worried for Nolan's Odyssey.
I was just going to say, I was like, I'm curious to see what the Odyssey does.
Not going to lie, my hopes are not high. I know that Nolan heads will like kill me for that, but I don't know if Nolan's the right person for the job.
I'm
personally.
more so like going into it just like no expectations. Like I don't think it's going to be great. I don't think it's going to be awful. I'm more so just kind of like, all right, let's see what you do.
I mean, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But watching this has not made my hopes higher simply because I feel like within Troy, I can see maybe an echo of what Nolan will try to do.
Yeah.
And I'm not loving it personally.
Yeah, there are a lot of faults in this movie.
And I think one of them, at least for me, is the screenplay.
Yeah, so let's get into it officially. So again, Troy was made in 2004. It is a historical action film directed by Wolfgang Petersen and written by David Benioff.
Yes, who is probably better known as one of the co-creators of Game of Thrones and thus one of the people that destroyed Game of Thrones. So not a great reputation in my house. He's walking in, a little nervous already.
Right.
Yeah, Troy was kind of exactly what I expected from him. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, the script is very lacking at parts. It was distributed by Warner Brothers and received a theatrical release in May of 2004. And like we said, it was the 8th highest grossing film that year.
So Troy is primarily based, as we said, on Homer's The Iliad, which recounts the legend of the Trojan War. However, the film opts to downplay or remove a lot of the overt supernatural elements, like the Greek gods, which are a key part of Homer's The Iliad, and decides to approach the material in a more stripped-down, historical, epic style. And honestly, without the gods, the film really does a lot of plotting gymnastics to get from point A to point B.
It's funny. They mention the gods like in conversation, but I love the Iliad and I love the Odyssey. And you're right. It's so weird to see them try to like jump through these hoops to try to get the plot moving without like using the actual gods and the elements in that story.
I know. I mean, honestly, it's a choice that I really don't get. Like, okay, fine. You guys wanted to make a historical action epic that wasn't a fantasy. Then don't adapt the Iliad.
Right.
Which, to be completely honest, I have not read the Iliad since high school. I remember enjoying it, but there's definitely going to be a lot of details that I just don't recall and was not able to. There were some points in the film where I could be like, oh, okay, this was what you changed from that part to make it fit this new grounded, quote unquote, style that you're doing. But I'm sure that there was a lot that I missed that they changed.
Yeah, I mean, again, could I recite the Iliad from memory? No, but I do remember key elements in that story, and I also remember really enjoying the story.
Yeah, no, it's a great story.
Yeah, again, like I could see what they were going for, and I could also see like it's 2004 and this movie has a lot of practical effects, which I think is a very clear stylistic choice.
Yeah,
so
I
could understand
that.
Like them not wanting to do fantasy because they didn't want to incorporate like CGI or like any type of like VFX.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot about this movie that's lacking. I actually enjoyed it more than I thought I would. I thought I would absolutely hate it.
No, me too. This is not probably something I ever would have put on if we weren't watching it for this.
Same.
But I did find some stuff to appreciate. And I would say throughout the 3 hours and 15-minute runtime, I did enjoy myself.
I was just going to say, it's a very long movie, but I was more intrigued. Like, at no point was I like, oh my God, when will this movie end? Which, you know me, I hate unnecessarily long movies.
Oh, I know.
Don't get me wrong. There were times where I was like, what time is it? But there was no point where I was like, oh my God, I can't watch this movie anymore.
No, I was like relatively entertained throughout.
Yeah.
Which that is something that I will give this film. Before the movie even begins, we get like a slide with a ton of text that explains the backstory about like the war that we open on. So we get the title card, and then we start the main scene, which it begins with like this little dog, like basically running through the brush and then like discovering that there's a war happening. And there's voiceover on top of the opening scene. So not only do we get a title card, we also get voiceover. This is such a pet peeve of mine. And then I kind of was like, wait, let me look up the script to see if the title card was in the original script, because I bet it wasn't. And it wasn't. So it was something added in post because some producers thought that audiences would be confused.
That's always something I hate in movies, where like,
because like the voiceover kind of just restates in a different way what the title card said.
It's like when in a movie, like when there's like a clear dubbed line put in and you're like, do you think the audience is stupid? Like, we understand. Yeah. Also, it's based off of a Greek myth, like that is been passed down for literally thousands of years.
And like in the first 15 minutes, the kind of context of who is fighting the war and why, which they changed from the Iliad, I'm not even going to get into it, is established. So we really didn't need that title card. Like, it was so unnecessary.
I don't know about you. It's not that hard to follow.
It's not at all.
And they make it very clear throughout the 3-hour runtime. So like, I don't know why they're like, oh, just in case you guys missed it. It's like, it's actually pretty easy to pick up, even if you weren't really paying attention.
No, fully. So the film begins at the end of a war. King Agamemnon, who's played by Brian Cox, who I screamed when I saw him. I did not know he was in this, and he's so good.
He is a highlight in this movie.
He's like the villain.
Yeah.
And he is just chewing the scenery.
Yes.
Like, he's having a blast doing this. He is the king of Mycenae, and he, at this point in the war, has subdued all of the Greek kingdoms except for Thessaly. So the two sides summon armies and meet on the field of battle, but Agamemnon proposes single combat between two champions instead of like both of their armies fighting. So the king of Thessaly summons a large man named Boagrius, and Agamemnon summons Achilles, who is played by Brad Pitt, who easily kills the much larger man, and that grants Agamemnon dominion over Thessaly. Although the king, Agamemnon, resents Achilles' independence and pride, and Achilles is loyal not to Agamemnon, but to glory itself. So he only reluctantly joins the Greek incoming campaign against Troy.
Yeah. I actually really like the character of Achilles in this movie. Like,
really? I didn't.
Well, there are moments where like there's a monologue or something, and I was like, I actually find like that type of character interesting, like a character who isn't loyal to the king, but kind of feels like tied to this like name that he's supposed to live up to, and this glory and this epic battle hero that he's meant to be. And like, there's a scene later in the movie where, not Brad Pitt, like, but I actually really enjoyed the monologue itself. And I was kind of like, okay, that actually kind of is an interesting main character to follow.
Yeah.
But Brad Pitt ruins it. Like, if it was an actor who just fit this character even the tiniest bit better, I think I would actually really enjoy following Achilles. But I don't know. Like, I get his whole thing is he kind of doesn't want to be there, but like, it's so obvious Brad Pitt doesn't want to be there.
And apparently he, like, in real life really didn't want to be there. He only did this movie because he was under contract with Warner Brothers to do another feature with them. And he had to drop out of something else that he wanted to do Troy. And like, you can tell.
No, it's so obvious.
He really is not putting a lot into this.
I feel like he's not even trying.
No, his British accent is like laughably terrible.
Yeah.
Which like, also, why are they all doing British accents? I mean,
right,
it's one of those. Yeah. it's one of those of like, oh, it takes place in like a foreign place, so of course they're all British.
Right. If it's not in America, they have to be British.
But yeah, I don't know. Achilles' whole thing is basically like he only cares about glory and about the like being great and being this great warrior. And I found that personally a little bit of like a shallow motivation when no other character really has a great motivation to latch onto.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
feel like everyone's motives are a little shallow or possibly underdeveloped.
I think that's a better word for it.
Like, I found Achilles consistently unlikable. Even like literally in his first scene, there's like a scene where he's being called on to battle this guy for Agamemnon. And this like little kid goes up to him and is like, oh, I wouldn't want to fight that big scary guy. And Brad Pitt looks him right in the eye and goes, and that's why no one will remember your name.
I go, was that necessary? I literally wrote that in my notes.
That was so mean
No,
for no
literally.
reason.
And the
so
kid
like
is-
then this kid's like, huh?
No, the kid's standing there like just like jaw dropped. Like, what the fuck do I even say to that?
And I'm like, I saw that and I'm like, okay, so this guy's gonna get some sort of a redemption arc where he like becomes less of a jerk, and he just kind of doesn't.
No, he really doesn't ever. I mean, the only times where he's like kind of a more likable character is when he's not like pillaging and like attacking women
Yeah.
like some of the other soldiers do, and you're like, I guess we're supposed to root for him.
Also, I mean, side note that we linger a lot on some of the assaults that happen when cities are raided, more so than necessary.
Yes, to the point where I was like, we get it, guys. Like,
Yeah.
and it's funny because like not like I don't think this movie shies away from violence at all, but it's like scenes like that where you're like, wow, you really focused on this brutality.
When
and
like there's other brutality next door that's
Right.
just not like sexual.
this is about a war. Like you would every scene has brutality, but you're like really focusing in on this one.
No, I agree. I thought when it kept happening, I was just like, oh, okay. I guess this is what we are supposed to want to watch.
Yeah.
Okay.
So meanwhile in Sparta, Paris, who is one of the prince of Troy, he's played by Orlando Bloom, is visiting his brother Hector, who's the crown prince, to negotiate peace.
And who's Hector played by?
Eric Bana, who is looking the best he's ever looked in a movie.
Dude, Eric Bana looks really good. He looks kind of like Ben Barnes.
Yes.
In this one.
Yeah, I don't know what the makeup team was doing for him, but like he should have kept that forever.
It was working for me.
Also, to preface, these are very Greek names. I will be saying most of them probably wrong in this episode, so forgive me. Paris has begun to have an affair with Helen, who is played by Diane Kruger, and she is the wife of King Menelaus, or Menelaus. I don't know. And when the brothers sail home, Paris secretly takes Helen with him. Menelaus is obviously enraged. His
wife was stolen.
Yeah. I
and
mean,
he's played by Brendan Gleeson,
who
is so good. And I love Brendan. He was another one where I was like, oh my God, Brian Cox and Brendan Gleeson?
just both of them chewing scenery.
Yeah, they are very at home here.
Yes. And Agamemnon seizes on the insult as like the perfect excuse to attack Troy. So he doesn't really give a fuck that Helen has run off with Paris. He's more like, oh, great. So now I can like take over. Mm-hmm. Agamemnon persuades the Greek kings to defend Menelaus's marriage, and a fleet sails for Troy. So now they are going to attack.
So when the Greek fleet lands, Achilles, who is fighting for the Greeks still, and his Myrmidons strike first. They storm the temple of Apollo, and he takes the priestess Briseis captive, and she's played by Rose Byrne.
Who is 12 in this movie?
I think she was like probably 18 when
She
they filmed
had to
this.
be.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane. When I said she was in this movie, my mom was like, was that her first role ever?
It seems like it.
Yeah.
Or very early.
Yeah.
So Achilles' early success in his strike helps the Greeks establish a foothold on Trojan soil, but conflict breaks out in the Greek camp when Agamemnon claims Briseis for himself as a war prize, which really deepens Achilles' contempt for him.
Which this totally supports your like Achilles like being a weird character / like almost inconsistent character. He meets Briseis that afternoon, and all of a sudden he is like, I get like they're trying to make him like a better man than like Agamemnon, which like is already kind of established because Agamemnon is like,
he's like a cartoon
he's
villain.
so evil. Exactly. So like Achilles being like, no one touches her, and like is so protective over Briseis. You're kind of like, why? Especially because in the first scene he is like sleeping with this random woman. So it's kind of like, okay, you kind of get the idea from that introduction that like he's kind of like loose just in life.
Yeah, but no, literally the moment he meets her, it's like all about her.
Right, which like Roseburn is stunning. I get it, but also like it was just so, I was
kind of
like,
comes out of nowhere.
I literally wrote in my notes, I was like, I get they're pushing for a romance between them, but like this is really sudden for a movie that's 3 hours long.
Agreed.
So in an effort to prevent full-scale war, Paris challenges Menelaus to single combat. This was really hard to watch because it's highly embarrassing.
Paris is not a warrior. Paris is
he's like
decoration.
A pretty boy.
Yeah.
The duel goes very badly for Paris, but when Menelaus is about to kill him, Paris's brother Hector intervenes and kills Menelaus himself. With this, any chance of peace is gone because that's not what the rules were. And so war fully begins. And it is so embarrassing to see like Orlando Bloom get his butt kicked. And it's like, it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But it is like one of those things where it's like, oh, like your girl's watching.
Yeah.
And she has to like watch you get your ass whooped.
Also, this is an example too of the film not including the gods means that they have to do all of these plot gymnastics. Like in the story of the Iliad, all of these different people are like basically backed by different gods.
Yes.
So I forget who or what it was in the Iliad, but this battle is stopped and Paris stays alive because one of the gods intervened. And like the gods, that's their whole thing, is like they're all like eating popcorn, watching the spectacle and being like, oh, that's my guy, that's my guy, that's my guy. And then like they'll intervene every once in a while to like help out their guy.
Yeah. And again, when I said like this movie only brings them up in like conversation, it's like, you know, the Paris and Hector and his father are like, oh, well, like, you know, Apollo like protects us. And it's like,
does he?
Yeah.
Where is he then?
Are you sure? Because you almost died on the battlefield.
So the Greeks attempt to capture Troy by force, but the city's walls hold them back. Achilles, who's still really mad at Agamemnon, withdraws from the fighting. And as the battle worsens, Patroclus, who is Achilles' cousin and kind of like protege, he puts on Achilles' armor and leads the Myrmidons, hoping to turn the tide, but Hector kills him in combat, believing him to be Achilles because he's wearing Achilles' armor. Patroclus' death basically transforms the war because Achilles is now really mad and decides to return to the battlefield and challenges Hector outside the gates of Troy. In the film's most decisive duel, Achilles kills Hector, then ties the body to his chariot and drags it away. This battle scene is by far my favorite in the film.
It's easily the best.
The fight choreography is so inventive and cool. They're like using spears and shields in really fun ways.
Yeah, I will say the fight scenes aren't bad in this movie.
No, but this was definitely the one that held my attention the most.
Well, also it has the most like emotional weight to it.
Yeah.
Like, again, I'm not really into Brad Pitt, but like Eric Bana I think is actually doing a very good job in this movie.
Agreed.
Or he's actually like really trying, you can tell. And I think it's really like, I enjoy the build up that this battle has where Hector is like genuinely really sorry.
Yeah.
Like he's like, I genuinely did not mean to kill your cousin. I am so sorry. Like I
just thought it was you.
Yeah.
I just thought it was you I killed.
I wanted to kill you, not him. But like and then he's like talking to his wife and his child and he kind of like knows he's about to get his shit rocked. And he's like, yeah, like I kind of, you know, made my bed and I need to lie in it. And his wife is like, well, we could just leave. And he's like, yeah, no. Cause he like Hector's very about like honor and like respect. And so I was kind of like, okay, like I'm invested. Thank you, movie. Like kind of finally.
No, I agree. This was like probably one of my favorite parts of the film. And I just really liked the fight choreography. I was like, oh my God. I was excited to watch it.
It was exciting. So later, King Priam secretly enters Achilles' tent and kneels before the man who literally just killed his son and dragged his body away and basically begs for Hector's body to be returned so he can have like a proper burial. Achilles is moved by his grief and his dignity, so he returns the body and grants Troy time to mourn. Like, I think it's like a 2-week period they have. He also lets Briseis return home with Priam, who's her uncle. I have to say, I don't know who's the actor who plays Priam. I think he is doing like also one of the best jobs in the movie.
Yeah, this is one of the best scenes in the film.
And I actually I like his character a lot.
Me too.
Like, I like how his whole thing is he's kind of like, again, it would be more interesting if the gods were actually in the movie, but like he's very trusting of the gods. And when like they're like, we need to play dirty, he's like, no, that's not what we do. Like, we're a city of honor. We're not like those people. Like, we will stand on our morals. And this is, I think, the best acting scene in the movie.
Agreed. This is probably, he carries it. It's probably Brad Pitt's best acting scene too.
Yeah.
It's a scene where he actually kind of seems like he's trying.
Yeah. And like, even like I guess it's like the best character moment for like Achilles too.
This is the first time we've seen like growth from him.
Yeah, especially him like letting Briseis go. I mean, even though she kind of like she's still a captive, but like she's definitely more comfortable with Brad Pitt.
They're like dating.
Yeah, they've established a weird relationship. But him like being like, oh yeah, no, you probably don't want to be in like enemy territory now.
So, because they've been unable to conquer Troy in open battle, the Greeks are forced to adopt a new plan. They appear to abandon the war and leave behind a gigantic wooden horse, as we all know.
Yeah.
The Trojans, believing they've won, bring it inside the city despite warnings, and then that night, Greek soldiers hidden inside emerge, open the gates, and signal for the Greek fleet to return. Troy is overrun and burned to the ground. However, when Agamemnon enters the palace, he is murdered by Briseis, who stabs him.
Because he's trying to assault her. As the city collapses, Achilles reunites with Briseis. He's basically there just to find her. He doesn't even care about
They're like in
claiming
love
Troy.
now.
Yeah. So Paris helps survivors escape through a secret passage, which we saw earlier in the movie. Seeking to avenge his brother, Paris fatally shoots Achilles with several arrows, including one to the heel.
Which, like, I'm sorry, if we're not going to do the magic, if we're not going to have the gods, what's the point?
Right.
Just have him shoot him a bunch of times. That's what he did.
It felt so goofy.
It felt like, oh, look.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it felt like the movie was going, look, he got shot in the heel. It's like, okay, yeah, and like in 5 other places, that's what's killing him. Like, what's the point?
I always just hate in movies, like, especially like epics or like more historical like battle things like this. I always hate when the character is supposed to be like really strong and like the best soldier, and I'm like, you're telling me he's never gotten injured?
Yeah.
Like, he gets shot in the heel and really he's like, why? And like falls to his knees. I'm like, okay, really? Like, it's always just a pet peeve of mine.
No, true. And I mean, that would have been explained if Achilles' true, more magical origins remained.
Had they stayed closer to the original source. So in the end, Troy falls and Achilles dies, but in death becomes the legendary hero that he dreamed of being. And that's the end of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed myself okay. I was never bored. I'll give it that.
Same.
I think that some of the dialogue is like really genuinely bad. And I found all of the characters kind of unlikable. Like, I found it really hard to care who won the war.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, again, I feel like if we liked Achilles a bit more, we'd be more invested with his story. But the only people who
maybe another actor could have given him more layers, but he just seems to me like the whole movie he's kind of a jerk, and Brad Pitt is so nothing in this character.
It's funny, I kind of am rooting for Troy just because I like Hector as a character. I don't like Paris. I know his thing is he's kind of like weak and annoying
and like pretty.
Yeah, but like I found him especially annoying in this movie. Just like that portrayal. Especially the scenes where he's trying to be more complex.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, just shut up. You're just annoying me now. But I found myself being the most interested in Hector and his whole thing and King Priam.
Agreed.
So I was kind of like, I kind of want Troy to win. The only other character and actor who we didn't mention, who's the guy in Game of Thrones who plays
Sean Bean.
Yes,
He's really likable in this.
Oh, he plays Odysseus, and
Mm-hmm.
he is like my other favorite. I wrote he is the most at home in this movie.
Yes, he
And-
is Odysseus.
Yeah,
like you buy it 150%.
Yes, I loved it. It's funny. Earlier in my notes, I was like, everyone's giving like, I guess, a fine performance. Like some are obviously doing better than others. But I was like, something just kind of feels off about this movie. I don't know if it's like just the time period that it was filmed in, the lighting, the way it's shot. Like, and something I love about this movie is they use almost all practical sets. I think, if not
entirely practical, it seems.
Yeah.
But I mean, and good on them. And you notice, and it's really cool to realize that
It's impressive, the scale.
Oh, yeah. But also, it's shot so stylistically. Like,
It's kind of shot like a TV show.
that's exactly it. Where it's like, we're in these beautiful practical sets. Like, let's really luxuriate in the space.
Right, let's move around.
It's very like shot, reverse shot. There was truly, in my opinion, like no real style to how shots were crafted.
Yeah, and I think that's what I mean where I was like, something is like off.
Yeah, but it almost feels like the epicness of the production is undermined by some of the cinematic choices.
Which I know partially is just like that was the time period.
Yeah.
But also I'm in agreement with you where it's like, wow, it really underwhelms the amount like of impressive work that all these people did on this movie.
Mm-hmm. I mean, but look at Lord of the Rings, which was made earlier. And I know that they do employ some CGI, but that was also a lot of practical effects.
Yeah, and it looks so much better.
And it looks epic and fantastical and cool. And this just felt very, I don't know, something about the cinematography. I felt it was just so lackluster.
Sorry, I'm laughing at myself because I could tell in my notes I was kind of getting towards like being
end.
ready for the end of the movie. I go, been waiting for this fucking horse. Because there was a point where I was like, all right, let's go. Let's go. When are they going to build it? Mm-hmm. And then it showed up on the beach and I was like, oh, finally. Okay, we're near the end of the movie now. Yeah, I wrote, it was fine. I was surprised how entertained I stayed throughout the whole movie. I said, I think I'd enjoy it way, way more if someone else was Achilles, but overall, meh. I gave it a 5.5 out of 10.
I also gave it a 5.5.
Nice.
Okay, yeah, so we're on the same page about it. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I think it's cool as like a relic of that time, as like the big blockbuster of 2004.
Totally.
Also, it's one of the first scenes. It's a scene where Achilles battles like the big guy from Thessaly. Mm-hmm. I watched that scene when I was like 6 years old and I couldn't go to bed. And I like went out to my dad was in the living room watching TV and I guess he was watching Troy. And I have such a visceral memory of watching that scene and then my dad going like, okay, this is like not for kids. Like, let's go to bed. And I kind of like, I thought maybe I dreamt it because I had never come across that scene.
I have that too, where you like see a very specific scene. You're like, did I make that up or is that a real movie?
Because I remember it so viscerally, but then I like could never figure out what it was from.
Right.
So when it started happening, I'm like, oh my God, this is the movie that I saw this scene when I was a kid. Yeah, so didn't dream it. It was in Troy.
Just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I have that literally all the time. There are still movies today where I like only know the one scene. I'm like, scene where XYZ happens. What movie is this? And it's like the most broad description of a scene ever. It's like girl walks into house. And I'm like, but it's this one. I need to know it's real. I'm excited for our next film. I know you are.
Me too. I mean, the next film also deals with a part of the Trojan War story that Troy did not cover.
I'm actually completely unfamiliar with this myth.
Okay, well then I'm really excited because this is one of my favorites.
Oh, okay.
So our next film is The Killing of a Sacred Deer. It is a psychological thriller that came out in 2017. It's directed by my fave, Yorgos Lanthimos, and written by Yorgos Lanthimos and Efthimis Philippou.
Good job saying that name.
I feel like I got it wrong.
Well, I'm proud of you for even trying because I was looking at that and my heart just went up, like my heart rate just went up.
Killing of a Sacred Deer premiered at the 2017 Cannes Film Festival, where it won the award for Best Screenplay. It was then acquired for distribution by A24 and received a limited theatrical release in the US in October 2017.
I tried to watch this movie a few years ago with my family, which was a mistake because my family is like not into the weird at all. So we were like 15 minutes in. They were like, we're done. Turn this off. And I was like not really into it too. Watching it now for the podcast, I was surprised how much I enjoyed it.
I'm thrilled you enjoyed it because this is one of my all-time favorite movies.
I said this to you off camera, it's 3 degrees too weird for me. Like if this was the tiniest bit less weird, I would be like, oh, I really, really enjoy this movie. Like I would recommend it to people, but it's one of those movies where I'm like, it's really good and I can really appreciate it, but like it's just a little too weird for me to like really enjoy. But I really enjoyed the plot and the acting. Like,
I mean, it's pretty fantastic. There's this great excerpt from a review that I found. Jessica Kiang wrote it for the playlist. She says, for those not on Lanthimos' wavelength already, it might well be unendurable. The drip feed pacing, the despairing underlying view of humanity's basic selfishness, even when it comes to their own kin, the cold-blooded emotionlessness, but for Lanthimos fans, it might just be the purest and most dangerous hit of our favorite drug yet, with layers of potential dark significance and meta-meaning to almost every moment. And it's, when you buy into the Lanthimos world, this is kind of like the ultimate Lanthimos movie.
yes. I think this was before I had seen any other film of his. So I think this is like the wrong one to start out with.
This was my first Lanthimos.
Yeah, but you like weird shit. you eat that up. I need to like ease into it.
Fair enough. I describe viewing this film. I think I saw it when it came out, probably, so I was like 16. It really was like love at first sight. Like it was 20 minutes in and I was like, I'm obsessed with this. Like this is for me. Absolutely love it. Part of what I love about it so much is how much incredible like layers of symbolism there are throughout. I mean, some of the weird stuff is literally just stuff that Lanthimos thinks is funny. Like
I think and we talked about it off camera, I think those are the things that I'm like, that's not funny to me, so I don't get it.
And I find it deeply funny.
Exactly.
Like when Colin Farrell is talking to a colleague about his daughter and goes, yeah, she just started menstruating. I crack up laughing.
Yeah, see, that is me being like, too weird. I don't get it.
I mean, I've seen this film probably about 6 or 7 times now, and I feel like I pick up on something new or I come away from a scene with a new interpretation of it every single time I watch it.
That's good to know because, again, this was my first full watch, and I did find myself like really surprised with how much I was like invested in it.
Oh, I'm so happy.
I could we'll have to watch it together because sometimes I feel like I get more out of it when you show me a project that you really love.
This is one of the movies that I'm like, I feel like you will like it even more on a second watch because there's just so much. There's so many layers to it. There's so many different ways you can interpret things. So The Killing of a Sacred Deer is a modernization of the myth of Iphigenia, which is, as we said, part of the larger story of the Trojan War. The myth was famously adapted by Euripides in the play Iphigenia at Aulis. So Iphigenia is canonically, in the Greek myth canon, Agamemnon's youngest daughter. So, or maybe not the youngest, but she's Agamemnon's daughter. And while Agamemnon is at war to conquer Greece, at some point he and his army get like stranded because he has accidentally killed one of Artemis's sacred deer when he was out hunting. Artemis is basically like, yeah, you guys aren't going to get any wind in your sails forever. So you'll be stranded on this island until one of your enemies comes and kills you all. So in order to break that curse, Agamemnon sacrifices his daughter Iphigenia, and then wind comes into their sails. They're able to leave the island. And then, as we know from Troy, they win the war. So Iphigenia's death is really the first step in Agamemnon winning the war. But how he kills her is pretty heartless. There's a really great book that it's not a modern interpretation, but it's a retelling of that myth. And then it gets more into like, because that myth leads into the story of Electra, and like Clytemnestra, who's Agamemnon's wife. I want to say it's called The House of Names. The
Okay.
House of Names by Colm Toibin. I'm like 90% sure that's it. The author is Colm Toibin. I forget the title of the book. I read it last year and I thought it was pretty good. Very kind of gets into the brutality of that story and like the ramifications of sacrificing one's child for personal gain. So this film is a loose modern interpretation of that myth. In an interview with Cinevue, Yorgos Lanthimos did clarify that he and his co-writer began writing the script before they realized the similarities to the tragedy.
Oh.
And then they decided, oh, okay, let's like make that more overt and like interweave it into the story more.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, so the title Killing of a Sacred Deer is obviously the most kind of overt homage to the myth where Agamemnon kills one of Artemis's sacred deer.
So let's get into the plot. Our main character is Stephen Murphy, who's played by Colin Farrell. He is a cardiothoracic surgeon. He is married to Anna, who is played by Nicole Kidman, and they have two children, Kim and Bob, who are played respectively by Rafi Cassidy and Sunny Suljic. Yeah, I think that's how you say it. We first meet Stephen when he's performing on open heart surgery, and the opening shot is like the heart beating, like a close-up of it on the surgery table.
Love it.
My note, ew.
I'm also 95% sure that they were able to get permission to film an open heart surgery, so that is a real heart.
Imagine being like, I'm in the new Yorgos Lanthimos movie. There I am.
That's me. That's me.
That's my heart.
So pretty quickly, we learn that Stephen has been secretly having regular meetings with a teenage boy named Martin Lang, who is played excellently by Barry Keoghan. And the fact that he got no nominations for anything and like basically no recognition for this performance, which in my opinion is like maybe one of the best of the decade.
It's so good.
Crazy good. This is the role he was born to play. And the nature of their relationship is initially really mysterious. Like, they meet up, he gives him gifts, they go to this diner, and then it's just like, okay, bye, like, let me go home to my family. And it's like, okay, why are you hanging out with this kid?
Yeah, what is your relationship?
And why are you not being honest with people about who the kid is? Like,
or why you meet up with him.
Yeah, like one of his colleagues comes up to him at one point when Martin visits him at the hospital, and his colleague's like, oh, who's that kid? And he was like, oh, he's my daughter's friend from school. And we know he's not. So it's like, okay, how do you guys know each other? It is revealed that Martin's father died several years earlier. And after we've seen them meet a few times, Stephen invites Martin to dinner at his home where he meets Stephen's family, and Stephen's daughter Kim immediately takes a liking to him. And at this point, we're like 20 minutes into the movie, and we still don't really know what Martin and Stephen's relationship is. And I am like obsessed with how restrained Lanthimos always is with giving information. Like, I like that you are left wondering about it, and it creates this kind of sense of uneasiness.
Well, also, like, every interaction they have, you lean a little bit more because every time it's like the tiniest sprinkle of information is given. Mm-hmm. So I think it's like maybe the second time they meet up, like Martin brings up his father, and you're like, okay, clearly his father's like not around anymore, but like why? What happened? And then like the giving of the gifts and stuff like that, and he talks about his mother, and every time it's like, okay, I'm piecing it together, but like almost like I need to move faster because like this connection or this relationship they have is too ambiguous to be something harmless.
Exactly. But yeah, I love when a director just kind of like drops you into their, or a screenwriter. I love when a film just like drops you in and then you have to figure it out. I really enjoy that. I enjoy the process of learning as the film progresses. I think the film would not be nearly as clever or good as it is if all of the information about Martin was given up front.
I mean, I definitely prefer it to a movie that over-explains so hard that is so afraid of its viewer trying to figure it out. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Stephen also visits Martin's house for dinner, and when Stephen is left alone with Martin's mother, she propositions him, and it makes him wildly uncomfortable. It's like such an awkward scene, purposefully, obviously, and he quickly leaves. And
the mom is Martin's mom is played by Alicia Silverstone, who love to see her.
Yes, and she's kind of becoming, she's a Yorgos. She was just in Begonia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like her a lot. I think she was good in this role, too. She only gets like one scene, but she kind of kills that scene.
I completely agree. Martin begins appearing more often at the hospital where Stephen works, and Stephen grows increasingly distant as Martin demands for his attention more frequently. I wrote how Barry Keoghan is so good because he's threatening in the most harmless way. Like, he is the kind of kid who isn't like intimidating at all, but just his nature is so off-putting in the most like fight or flight mode. Like, looking at him and interacting with him immediately kind of puts you on edge.
Yeah, like he has this almost like baby-like innocence, but then right underneath that, like simmering, is just this sense of like menace. Like there's something dangerous about him, and his kind of like blank stare is so effective. Like Barry Keoghan makes a lot of choices in this role that are weird. Like they are choices that I think a logical actor would never even think to make, and every single one of them works amazingly.
It's almost like he's kind of slow, but he's so powerful.
Yeah.
And also like kind of has so much brewing beneath the surface, but he puts on this facade. It's very hair-raising.
Yeah. But like there's something wrong with him. Like, well, first, he was very clearly trying to get Stephen and his mom together.
Oh, yes.
Like overtly.
Yeah, he's basically wingmanning her.
Fully. And then when Stephen like kind of makes it clear that he doesn't want to leave his wife for Martin's mother, that's when we start to see the more menacing side of Martin come out.
Well, I mean, he's basically stalking him. So Stephen becomes even more alarmed to learn that Martin is spending time with his daughter Kim and has been like taking her from school and home on his motorcycle.
One morning, Stephen's son Bob suddenly and inexplicably loses the use of his legs. I remember my first time watching this film and that happening and going like, huh? Like,
right, you're like,
what is this?
Because at first you think it's just kind of this like thriller drama.
Yeah, like, okay, clearly something's going to happen with Stephen and Martin.
And you think maybe like something will happen with Kim because she's kind of being introduced. And then when this happens, you're like, wait, what is going on?
So they take him to the hospital, and then at the hospital, it's actually like, oh no, like nothing's wrong. And then he can walk again and he's okay. And then there's this incredible shot of him and Nicole Kidman. They're like going home from the hospital and they're on an escalator, and it's this overhead, like super
like
wide
bird's eye view.
Yeah. And he just, as he gets off of the escalator, like kind of staggers and then just collapses again. I love that shot so deeply. I mean, I love how this movie is shot.
I love how it's shot. I also love the sound design. It is something that like I kept stopping the movie and I was like, there is great sound design in this scene too.
Yeah.
And in that scene in particular, I love like the musical note that happens as he hits
like
the
this
ground.
Discordant like plunk of piano keys.
Yeah.
And that kind of reminds me of just something I do want to say about the film and how it is and how it's shot, is like that there's something so Stanley Kubrick about this movie in every sense, which is probably why I like it so much. The whole affect of it, like this kind of very stilted formality that everyone talks to each other with.
Very robotic.
Yeah. That is very Kubrickian. Also the visuals, the wide angles, the tracking shots, the slow zooms.
Yes, I was going to say the slow push-ins. Yeah.
And there's all of these, like, so much of the film is filmed in a wide. Like, almost the entire film is shot in a wide.
And a lot of, like, long takes, too.
And it's always, like, these big rooms, and the characters are shot with all of this space above their heads always. Like, they're always on the lower half of the frame if it's a head-on shot.
Yeah.
And it makes it seem like these little people almost like swallowed by these big rooms, which really relates to the movie's theme of kind of being small and helpless when faced with a higher power. So Bob is admitted back into the hospital. Doctors run tests, but no physical cause for why he can't walk is found. Like, all of the doctors are saying, well, everything seems normal. But Bob is like, no, I can't walk.
Yeah.
Martin visits and convinces Stephen to have lunch with him, where he reveals the truth. And I love this scene simply because of how ordinary it is.
I love how he delivers the news.
Mm-hmm. He tells Stephen that he must kill one member of his own family to balance the death of Martin's father, which Martin holds Stephen responsible for. And this is kind of the first time we're hearing about this.
It's a pretty big reveal.
Yeah, that Martin's father died when Stephen was operating on him. And he died about 3 years ago, which we learned earlier was also around when Stephen stopped drinking.
Yes.
So immediately the question is raised of, did Martin's father die because you were a neglectful doctor?
Right, you were drinking on the job.
Mm-hmm. Stephen's family will suffer in stages. First, paralysis, then the refusal to eat, then bleeding from the eyes, and finally death. And this will happen to both of his children and his wife, unless he kills one of them first. Martin says the only way to stop any of this is for Stephen to pick one.
Days later, Kim, who has fallen in love with Martin, loses the use of her legs and is also hospitalized. Afterwards, Stephen tells Anna of the history he has with Martin and admits that he was drinking before he operated on Martin's father.
There's definitely a lot that a smarter person could say about the ways that surgeons, especially heart surgeons, play God a little bit. They literally take someone's life into their hands. Mm-hmm. And then what happens when that person is actually face to face with a genuine higher power? Like when they kind of have to face the consequences of their own actions. Like you can't play God and get away with it. Mm-hmm. I thought it was interesting that they made Nicole Kidman's character, so Stephen's wife, is also a doctor.
Yes, I do. I like that choice.
Me too.
She's an optometrist, I believe.
I think it's something with eyes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's like, or she runs like an optometry clinic.
Mm-hmm. I thought there was a little bit of underlying parody of kind of the self-importance that doctors hold themselves to.
Well, I mean, the relationship with Stephen and Anna, like when he like diminishes her career and her ability as a doctor. I mean, it's so obvious.
That, and then also kind of a little bit of the stuffiness of the upper class, which Stephen's family is. I mean, they live in like a mega mansion. Mm-hmm. It's never like directly addressed, but we are always shown evidence of their kind of very moneyed lifestyle. I think it does have something to say about, I don't know, the affect. I mean, maybe it is saying something about how everyone else other than them is a little dehumanized to them. Like even there's another scene where Nicole Kidman confronts the anesthesiologist who worked on Martin's father and is just like, okay, yeah, this man, he was 40. Like, do you remember this guy? This was his name. He was 48 and he died under your care. Like he died in operation. And he's like, well, there have been so many patients. Like, why would I remember that? And it's like, that's so dehumanizing.
Well, I also love in that scene where she talks to her husband before and he's like, well, everyone knows that like if a patient dies, it's the anesthesiologist's fault.
Yeah.
And then when she talks to him, he's like, well, everyone knows like when a patient dies, it's the doctor's fault. Like it's the surgeon's fault. Mm-hmm. And it's like the way that like
no one is taking the responsibility.
Blame. And I think that's also a big theme in this movie.
100%.
So I love that scene. So after Stephen tells Anna about the situation with Martin's father and how he was drinking, Anna chastises Stephen for his very passive way of dealing with this entire situation. I love that line where he's like, can you make me mashed potatoes? And she's like, oh yeah, our kids are about to fucking die and I'm gonna die too. But yeah, I'll make you mashed potatoes. That's great. That scene I did laugh at.
That was very funny. There's another scene too where she's like, you need to do something, and he was like, what do you want me to do? And he starts
I'm up against a god.
And he starts like opening drawers, like slamming stuff around the kitchen and going like, oh, is there any unicorn teeth? Like, oh, are there the pubes of a virgin?
Yeah.
Like,
he's like
goes,
breaking
teeth,
the glasses.
Pubes, and it's just throwing stuff around. I thought that was hysterical.
Yes, those are the scenes that I did laugh at. See, I did find this movie funny. And kind of in retaliation and kind of like in desperation, Stephen kidnaps Martin and ties him up in the basement.
Yeah. This was also a real turning point in the film. I really like that basically he like comes up to Nicole Kidman, Stephen comes up to Nicole Kidman, is like, I have something to show you, and then brings her down to the basement. I love that we as viewers have never seen the basement before that scene. Like, I love that that's the introduction of the new location is also at a turning point, because the tone shifts when he turns on that light and Martin's sitting there like all beat up, like tied to the chair. And you feel kind of like you're in this new...
It's like this foreign space.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it adds to the uneasiness of it.
Very similar to what we're doing with this new
So
setup.
true.
We did it on theme, you guys.
So Stephen beats Martin up and shoots him in the leg, hoping that violence will break whatever hold he has over the family, but obviously it doesn't. As Bob and Kim's conditions get worse, they each try to curry their father's favor in a series of very funny scenes.
This I did also find funny.
Yeah, and are constantly arguing over who he's going to choose to kill. In a very funny way, Kim asks Bob, can I have your MP3 player when you're dead? Stephen becomes desperate enough to go to Bob and Kim's school and ask the school principal which child he thinks is better.
Yeah, literally he's like, well, if you had to choose one, like, who do you like more?
And Anna, who at this point is just recognizing how hopeless they all are and how powerless they all are in the situation, decides to let Martin go, which really angers Stephen. But it's also like, you keeping him in the basement is doing nothing.
Right. There's literally no solution.
And Martin says outright, he's like, well, if you kill me, that's like firing 4 shots in one. Like, I die, they all die.
Right. When Bob begins bleeding from the eyes, Stephen finally acts, which we learned earlier in the movie. Like, once they start bleeding from the eyes, it's like you have like half an hour before like it's the, they croak. He ties up Anna, Kim, and Bob and places them in a circle around the living room. Stephen pulls a wool hat over his face, spins around, and repeatedly fires a rifle at random to like randomly hit one of them. I love that he still is like taking the blame off of himself. Like, he's leaving it up to chance.
No, exactly. He's still not taking ownership of
his actions. Yeah.
And he's never, like, throughout the entire movie, he's never really like sat in the fact that he is responsible for Martin's father's death. Like, he's never really acknowledged that.
Never accepted that responsibility. He narrowly misses Kim and Anna, but the third shot hits Bob and kills him.
The final scene takes place sometime after Bob's death, and the whole scene is shot in slow-mo, and it's like with this really epic, like grandiose orchestral score over it, which is, I just love. Stephen, Anna, and Kim are eating in the diner where Stephen used to meet Martin, and then Martin comes in and he sits down and just kind of stares at them from across the room as the surviving family like just gets up and like one by one walks out the door, just heads hung. And like clearly Kim's eating now, which that was a thing that
they couldn't eat
they
before.
couldn't eat.
Yeah.
So like him seeing Kim eat is like the confirmation, and Bob not being there.
Right.
It's like, oof, you did it. You killed him. And you could almost kind of see that recognition a little bit in Barry Keoghan's eyes. But I mean,
it's a great ending.
It really is. And just like the door closing behind them, it really does feel like, and when I first watched this movie and I didn't realize the connection to Iphigenia at Aulis, it feels like this story is older. Like,
yeah,
there's
I get what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like, it feels like one of those things that it's like, this is a tale that has been retold, and it has been. I was not shocked to then discover that it was based on a Greek myth. It's like, that actually makes a lot of sense for what the movie is. There's something about it that feels very staid and...
Well, like, it's a story about divine justice and almost like revenge and guilt, and again like accepting responsibility, which is like, it's a very classic, I wouldn't say like a classic story setup, but you know what I mean, they're very classic themes, and that's what I mean, where it's like, I love how epics and Greek myths can like be adapted so effortlessly into such a modern story.
Yeah.
But still have this like very timeless feel to them.
And even like the sense of justice in it, the sense of justice that the movie promotes kind of is very ancient. Like
Very fucked up.
yeah. There's a scene where Nicole Kidman's character goes to Martin's house to try to like talk to him, to try to, after she kind of first finds out what's happening.
And she tries to like reason with him.
Basically. And he says something to her like, maybe what's happening isn't fair, but it's the closest thing I can think of to justice. And like that kind of like eye for an eye type of justice is very ancient Greek.
Totally.
I loved that scene too, with Barry Keoghan like menacingly eating
I was
spaghetti.
gonna say like disgustingly inhaling spaghetti.
Yeah.
And Nicole Kidman just like sitting there so like emotionless and like almost like timid. Yeah, that's a great scene.
Yeah, there's so much I like about this movie. As I said, I love the way it's shot. I love how it never explains anything to you until it absolutely needs to. You have to really place yourself in the world. Yeah, I understand this is a little bit of like, this is the ultimate Lanthimos movie. This is the most Lanthimos movie.
Oh yeah. And maybe that's why I need to ease into it a little bit more.
Fair enough. Oh, you're going to love Dogtooth when you see it. You're going to love it.
I liked it way more on this watch. It's still a little too weird for me. I would enjoy if it was 3 degrees less weird. But honestly, after talking about it, I can appreciate the weirdness. Like, it helps me, I guess, like understand it a little bit more.
Also, what did you think about the motif of hands, of Stephen's hands in the film?
I wrote blood on those hands. I thought it was really good.
In the opening shot, it's like they show the heart surgery. Well, they show the beating heart inside of someone's chest. And then it's another overhead of Stephen taking off the bloody gloves to reveal like completely clean hands. And it's like, oh man, is that not such a perfect metaphor for kind of how surgeons operate? I mean,
just wipe it off.
Wipe it off and on to the next one.
Yeah.
And then everyone commenting to Stephen, like, oh, that he has such beautiful hands. Like, and surgeons have such beautiful hands.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, because they don't have to carry the mess, the bloody mess around with them. They get to shed it at the end.
Yeah, I love how Martin keeps bringing it up. Yeah, and at first you're like, oh, just because he's like a kind of weird kid, but then as the movie keeps going on, they keep bringing it up. You're like, I literally, it's like one of my first notes. I always love stuff like that too.
Me
like
too.
visual and like metaphorical motifs in movies. Yeah, I was surprised how much I enjoyed it. I think I'll need to watch it again to like really kind of like dig my teeth or dig my nails into it. I gave it a 6 out of 10, but I could definitely see it going up.
This is a 9 out of 10 for me.
I knew it.
Yeah, I really like this movie. And I think it's a really great way of how to adapt a Greek myth and modernize it without destroying the soul of the story.
Absolutely. If anything, that is one of my favorite things about it.
Yeah.
On the first watch.
100%.
All right. Last but not least, we are in completely changing tone.
Yet another tonal shift.
Yeah. We are ending very cheerily with Hercules.
Yes, Disney's 1997 animated fantasy musical. It was directed by John Musker and Ron Clements, and it was written by John Musker, Ron Clements, Donald McInerney, Bob Shaw, and Irene Mecci.
Which is so on Disney to have like 6 writers.
I mean, with this kind of thing too, like,
yeah,
I'm sure some of them also, well, Alan Menken wrote the music, so
he
maybe
was the absolute goat.
The music in this film is the highlight of the film.
Yeah, it's easily the best part.
And it has some of my favorite musical numbers
from Disney
ever.
Oh, easily. I still listen to the soundtrack. Like if I'm in the mood to like get jamming, like I'm putting on Zero to Hero today. So the movie was produced by Walt Disney Feature Animation and distributed by Buena Vista Pictures Distribution. It received a wide release in the US in June 1997, and it received 2 Academy Award nominations for Best Original Song and Best Animated Feature.
Can you look up what song got nominated? I'm curious.
Yeah, let me do that because I'm also curious. I'm going to say Go the Distance. That's my theory.
You're definitely right.
But let me fact check. Yep, Best Original Song, Go the Distance. And it lost to My Heart Will Go On from Titanic.
Oh, well, that's, of course it did.
Yeah. I mean,
that's like the movie song.
Yeah.
So Disney's Hercules is, of course, loosely based on the Greek myth of Heracles. In the myth, Heracles is a demigod whose parents are Zeus and a mortal woman. He possesses extraordinary strength, kind of as is the most famous thing about him. Which makes him famous throughout Greece, but he is driven mad by Hera, who hates him for being Zeus's bastard. She would always like take revenge on Zeus's bastards.
And his like mistresses.
Yeah.
That was like kind of the only thing she was known for.
Yeah. And she's the goddess of marriage, which is completely ironic and funny. In a fit of madness, Heracles kills his wife and children, and then he must atone by serving King Eurystheus, who assigns him the 12 labors, which are a series of near impossible tasks, mostly killing monsters, that become his most famous deeds. And across the wider myths, Heracles is known as both a great hero and a tragic figure. And the movie really radically changes all of this.
Yes. I mean, that is like Disney's formula, especially back then. I mean, they've taken every Hans Christian Andersen folk and literally just completely changed it.
Yeah, in this movie, Hades is made into the main villain, which I hate. How in every like Greek myth film adaptation, they always just make Hades the villain.
Yeah, because he's the god of the underworld.
Yeah, but like in the myths, he wasn't really like a villainous figure.
No, he kind of just like did his thing.
He was just very like solitary.
He just liked to like be like by himself. He was an emo boy.
Literally. Which I like emo Hades. I don't always love villainous Hades. In the myth, he is not Heracles' enemy and is more of just kind of like a passive bystander, but here he is very much the main antagonist, and much of the violence and tragedy of the myth is reimagined into a more cheerful kind of classical hero's journey.
Again, that's very on brand for Disney, so I'm gonna like give them a pass. I know in the context of this episode with like Greek mythology, it's like, oh my god, it's not even close to the myth. But like,
I mean, but like none of the movies we watch are. We're talking about like, different forms of adaptation.
True, exactly. And again, like that is like Disney's whole formula is like, let me take this classic story and just like mold it into a kid-friendly version that has a more cheerful ending. But it was so insanely hard not to watch this movie through rose-colored lenses.
Because you loved it so much as a kid.
Oh, I grew up loving this movie. I quote this movie, like my family and I, we say, way to go Hercules, like on a daily basis. So like it was, I actually was watching the movie and I was like a quarter of the way in and I had to stop and restart it because I was like, I'm just having fun.
Aww.
Like I was like singing along to the songs and then I was like, okay, wait, I can't do that for the podcast because like it's not fair to the other movies that we watch where I'm like, looking at it mainly through a critical eye. So I had to like stop, but there are some things I noticed watching it this time, especially as an adult, where I was like, oh my god, that was clearly more entertaining when I was a child because it's a children's movie. But it was really, really hard for me to like really separate the nostalgia from this particular watch.
I get it. Hercules was, I know I saw it as a kid. It wasn't like one of my formative Disney movies. Like I saw it a little later. So I saw it like once or twice when I was younger. It was never a favorite of mine. I always loved the music.
The music is easily the best part. It kind of like is what makes this movie so loved. Like I think if a lot of people watch this movie, they'd be like, oh, it's not as good as I remember, but the music really,
I will say it was not as good as I remembered. And I really enjoyed it. Like I had a lot of fun watching it. But
it's a fun kids movie.
I think I just like remembered it as being on like Aladdin, Little Mermaid level when I probably, or like Mulan, which is my favorite.
My favorite Disney movie.
It's the best one. And I guess I kind of maybe see this as like, okay, so this is like a step below those movies.
Well, right before we filmed, I did some research and this movie came out between The Hunchback of Notre Dame and Mulan, which in my opinion
those are
like
like two of the best ones.
no, literally like two of the best Disney movies, especially in this like Disney Renaissance era. So it's crazy that like this is as loved, and I mean like to each their own. I'm not it's a kids movie. I'm not going to be like, oh wow, you really like this movie? Like I fucking love this movie. And also like it's a children's movie.
Yeah.
So I'm not expecting, but it is funny looking at these and being like, wow, I could watch Mulan today and be just as invested as I was when I was 6 years old and watched it. And
Absolutely.
same with The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And those also have incredible music.
Yeah.
And way better animation, which is what we talked about.
Agreed. I love the character design in Hercules. The character design is so fun and really good across the board. But what really disappointed me throughout the film was like the background design, like the hand painted aspects,
like the settings.
The settings I thought were really underwhelming. I didn't love how they blocked a lot of the scenes. It felt like the quote unquote cinematography, like I know it's animated, but the way that they decided to compose the shots, boring in my opinion, especially compared to a lot of the other Disney films.
Well, I was just gonna say, we were talking earlier and I was like, it's so crazy that Mulan is the movie after this, which I think has
looks fantastic.
It has incredible shot composition for an animated film.
Yeah,
it really uses it like a camera.
Absolutely.
And like the scale of that movie, it's so well done. So it is crazy that this was the movie right before.
Yeah, I don't know. It just felt like, especially for a lot of the scenes, it's like, oh, you kind of chose the most boring way to like block and compose this scene. Like off the top of my head, there's one scene at the beginning, at the very beginning, when like all the different gods are on Mount Olympus and they're like partying, and it just kind of like pans across them, and it's literally just like the gods are just like placed randomly on the screen against like a background of like white clouds and like Greek columns, and it's like that's such a boring way to show this scene. Like we should have gotten shots of all the different gods in ways that like show that their personalities.
It's also especially disappointing in such a fantastical setting.
Yeah, like you can do so much with Mount Olympus, the home of the gods, and it's just like white clouds and columns.
Or even you said like the underworld, you were like, I should be way more allured and impressed.
Yeah, the underworld to me looks better than Mount Olympus, but I was still kind of underwhelmed by it. Like it's like mostly monotoned, like it's all that kind of like dark blue, black,
grayish.
Yeah, like I should be really wowed by this, and there was only maybe one part of the underworld that I was like, okay, that looks really good. And it's like when Hades first like pulls in.
Agreed. The animation, especially for like this era that's so loved by Disney fans, I found it lacking compared to the others, but that is something that I can kind of more so not like excuse, but it's something that I'm like, okay, it's fine.
Yeah, I guess this just wasn't like a favorite as a kid. So I feel like I'm watching it kind of without the memories.
Yes, whereas I very much am.
Fair enough.
So in ancient Greece, Zeus and Hera, the king and queen of the gods, have a son named Hercules. Unbeknownst to them, Zeus's brother Hades, the ruler of the underworld, is plotting to overthrow Zeus. Hades consults the fates and learns that in 18 years, he will be able to free the Titans and conquer Olympus.
Makes no sense. The gods had to overthrow the Titans and take over, but it's fine.
Like we said, this is very loosely based on Greek mythology. But he is only able to do so if Hercules does not interfere. Hades then sends his minions Pain and Panic, who do always make me laugh.
Yeah, one of them is played by Bobcat Goldthwait. It just is always so good.
Yeah, it's a great pair. He sends them to kill Hercules with a potion that can strip a god of immortality.
And Hercules is like a cute little baby.
I know. That big ass head.
Yeah.
They kidnap Hercules from Olympus and feed him the potion, but have to flee before he can drink the very last drop. So while he is now mortal, he still has his godlike strength. A farmer couple find Hercules basically like on the side of the road and take him in. And Pain and Panic do not report their failure to Hades out of fear.
Really interesting. So a huge highlight of the film for me is James Woods as Hades.
Oh, I mean,
he's hysterically funny.
One of his best roles.
Absolutely. He's so good. He's so perfect for it. But I was really interested to learn that there were like all of these problems casting Hades before they found James Woods. So Disney originally offered the part to Jack Nicholson.
Oh my God.
And Disney was willing to pay him $500,000 to voice, but he demanded a salary of $10 to $15 million, which Disney did not have and was not willing to spend on this film. So they had to pass on him. And then they also considered Kevin Spacey, John Lithgow, James Coburn, and Phil Hartman before finding James Woods and settling on him.
It's so crazy because I could not imagine any of those actors playing Hades.
Right? Maybe Nicholson, but also like no.
Yeah. Yeah, I was
Like
gonna
it
say like
is James Woods.
maybe Phil Hartman, but like it's like James Woods' comedy.
Yeah.
Like it's his type of comedy. It's very much like Robin Williams as the genie in Aladdin. It's like it's very much like so no one else could do it.
Agreed. Like you couldn't try to mimic his performance in this. You really couldn't.
Wow, that's so interesting. Yeah, he's definitely a highlight for me.
So after this kind of opening section, we cut to years later, and Hercules is a teenager. He's really clumsy. He gets bullied for not being able to control his strength. And after he accidentally destroys a marketplace by like, what does he do? He like pushes a column and it like collapses.
He like bumps into the column and it sends like a domino effect.
Yes.
Yeah.
After that happens, Hercules' parents are finally like, maybe he needs to know that like
why he has this freak strength.
Yeah. And they say that when they found him, they found he had a medal that had Zeus's sigil on it and also his name. So they're like, that's why you're named Hercules. It's because you came with it. And then Hercules visits the temple of Zeus because he really wants answers now. And when he arrives, a statue of Zeus comes to life and reveals the truth, telling Hercules of his true parentage and that he can earn back his godhood by becoming a true hero. First question, has he never been to a temple of Zeus before?
I was thinking the same thing.
Because he walks in and the statue immediately comes to life and is like, I'm so happy to see you, my son.
My son, yeah, my boy.
And it's like, has he never been in?
Also, has Zeus never tried to like find Hercules? He is like the king of the gods.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is for plot convenience, but it was a bit of an odd choice that all he has to do is like enter the temple.
Take one step in.
No, and immediately Zeus is like there.
You're alive.
And talking to him and is like, you're my son.
Yeah. Also, I have to note it before we move on. This movie has one of my favorite openings, which is the gospel truth, which I know we talked about like over exposition, but
but this is a really good way to give exposition. It's fun and it plays into the Greek tradition of the Greek chorus.
Yes, and the muses, like I always dislike in musicals when we stop at a specific moment in time that doesn't explore like a character's I want song. Like, you know how that's the thing in musicals. I always like when time progresses through the story. So that's why I love like Zero to Hero too, because that's a great montage that like explains a lot of time passing. And I love the gospel truth because it gives you just the right amount of exposition and it explains it in a really fun way. And it's also a banging song.
Yeah.
And you're right. It's very on theme with Greek mythology. So Zeus gives Hercules a flying horse named Pegasus and sends them to the satyr Philoctetes to train under him. His name is Phil, and he's played by
Danny DeVito. Who else? He even looks like Danny DeVito.
The voice acting in this is really well done. Yeah. So Phil, who has failed to train a true hero yet, decides to take on Hercules as like kind of a final attempt to get a winner out there. After finishing the training, this is also another great song that spans a lot of time.
This is my favorite song, the training montage, Zero to Hero.
It's great. Phil and Hercules travel to Thebes so he can prove himself there as a hero. On the way, they meet Megara, who is a sarcastic damsel who Hercules saves from a centaur. I do like this meeting.
Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah, and I also just like that he is like, I'm here to save you, and she's like, can you just like get away? Yeah. And he's so like flabbergasted because he's been like training for this exact scenario, and it like completely blows up in his face.
It's a cute moment.
Unbeknownst to Hercules, Meg, who's Megara, is Hades' slave, basically. She sold her soul to save her former boyfriend, who eventually left her anyways for another woman.
Classic.
Yeah. When Meg mentions Hercules to Hades, he realizes that pain and panic never made him
fully mortal.
Yeah, fully mortal, and killed him. So he decides he needs to kill Hercules himself because, again, he's planning to overthrow the gods.
And like tomorrow.
Yeah, like next week.
Basically. No, yeah. Hades tricks Hercules into fighting the Hydra, which is obviously the multi-headed serpent of Greek myth. And after he defeats it, he earns the Thebans' respect and eventually becomes famous as he continues to defeat monsters, which are all sent by Hades to kill him.
I'm sorry. The scene where he defeats Hydra has one of my favorite lines ever, which is "Someone call IXII," which I never understood when I was little.
Wait, that's so funny. I didn't even catch that.
Oh my God. It's like a throwaway line.
No, that's hysterical though. That's really clever.
And I never got it when I was little. And then as I grew up, and I was like, oh my God, that's so fucking funny.
That's really funny. So even though he's like killing all of these monsters that Hades is sending after him and the people love him.
He's basically a celebrity.
100%. Zeus tells him that he is not yet a true hero, but he refuses to explain what that means, which really frustrates Hercules.
And kind of frustrates the audience too. It's
yeah.
Like, you're so open to, and then he's like, I actually can't tell you this part.
Later, Hercules spends a day with Meg and realizes that he's in love with her. They sing a cute song. When Hades, who is like on the verge of kicking off his plan to take over Mount Olympus, realizes this, he's like, wait, this is perfect.
Finally I have leverage over you.
Mm-hmm. He kidnaps Meg and offers her freedom in exchange for Hercules surrendering his strength. Hercules accepts on the condition that Meg will not be harmed, but he is heartbroken to learn that Meg was working for Hades all along. Even though, like, at this point, she's in love with him, too.
Yeah, she didn't want to betray him. Sad.
Yeah, this part, I'm like, okay, it's like a little bit of a contrived conflict, but it's like every sort of movie like this has this kind of conflict with the romantic lead. So it's like, okay, it needs to happen, but like, let's get through it.
Yeah. I will say, I know that this is like totally not completely accurate to Heracles, but I do love a Superman-esque kind of hero who just believes in goodness and like has a pure heart. So I do love this version of Hercules.
I mean, I have a whole section of my notes about how this story literally just is the Superman origin story.
Basically
is. It entirely. Yeah. It is entirely the Superman origin story.
Which, like, maybe that's another reason why I'm like, hey, I'm having a good time. Like, I still enjoy it.
I mean, it's a hero with sort of otherworldly supernatural origins, is dropped onto Earth and has caring adoptive parents
who live on a farm
and don't reveal the truth to him until he's like in his teens. And he's like a weirdo before he finally embraces his strength and then uses it to his full ability. Like, it literally just is Superman.
Yeah. And I love it. Hades then releases the Titans to attack Mount Olympus. I do love the design of the Titans.
Yeah, they're great.
And I do love, this is my other favorite line in the movie, where they're all like, Zeus. Yeah. And then he was like, Olympus is that way.
Yeah.
That's such a like James Woods like line delivery. That
so many of his like one-liners are just gold.
Just so good. But it's like, yeah, you can't have any other actor do that line.
Mm-hmm.
So the Titans go, attack Olympus. And Hades also sends a Cyclops to kill Hercules in Thebes. Hercules defeats the Cyclops, but Meg is fatally injured while saving him, which breaks the bargain that he had with Hades, where Meg was not allowed to be harmed. And he is able to get his immortal strength back.
I actually thought this was quite clever.
What? That the bargain breaks?
That is how he gets his strength back. I actually, I liked that.
That plot point?
That plot point. I thought it was like really well done because it was surprising.
Yeah.
Because it was like, oh, that's right. Like I liked it.
Right. You kind of forget about it and then you're like, oh, nice.
Yeah. Hercules rescues the gods, defeats the Titans, then journeys to the underworld to save Meg's soul, which Hades still has. And he dives into the river Styx to get it. And by risking his life, by diving into the river Styx, Hercules proves himself a true hero because he's selfless. After Hercules defeats Hades and revives Meg, he is summoned to Olympus, where Zeus and Hera welcome him home. However, rather than joining the gods, much like Superman, Hercules chooses to remain on Earth with Meg as a demigod. They return to Thebes together and watch as Zeus forms a constellation in Hercules' honor. And Phil, the satyr, is also like thrilled at this because it means that he finally got a hero that's big enough to be written into the stars.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just cute, great, fun.
It's really cute. It's really fun. I just do wish that they were a little more creative with like the design of the movie.
Yeah.
Just some of it, not all of it. Some of it honestly feels like rushed.
It's definitely, again, considering like people praise the Disney Renaissance, and I watch a lot of those movies today and I think they hold up very well.
Agreed.
And I can enjoy them as an adult.
Big time.
I will agree that this movie feels a little lazy compared to the others.
In the design, like in the sets, in the shot composition,
in the animation for the most part.
And it has these really great, like really fun character designs that are a little different from the typical Disney design.
Totally.
Like I love how Megara is so like angular.
Yeah, she's so pointy.
Yeah. And Hercules is so rounded in his design, and it's like cute, and it's a visual way of showing like that they're opposites. But like I liked that, and I like a lot of the sort of like Hades' sidekicks have like fun little designs, and they can also like transform into different things in fun ways. Like I like how the characters look. It really just is the composition and some of the framing and the backgrounds I was just kind of underwhelmed by. And I guess I was really looking forward to watching this because I hadn't seen it in so long. And I was not at all underwhelmed by the great music and the great one-liners and even like the fun plot. Like I was happy at the end. Like I had a smile on my face.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what this movie's whole goal is.
But I'm just like, I feel like we could have just taken it to that next level.
Absolutely.
It's of being like a Mulan or Aladdin or Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast level of really greatness.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, this was good, but like I've seen you do better.
Yeah.
Like kind of, and especially like in the world of Greek mythology and Greek gods and magic, it's
so
like,
much to come up with. Like you could be the most imaginative.
Yeah, I agree. But again, I think you watch this movie to have fun. You watch this movie because it has incredible music and incredible voice acting.
Yeah.
I think everyone is like so well cast. I love it. I still always have fun watching it. I can't like hate on this movie too hard because there's always that sense of nostalgia for me. I gave it an 8.5 out of 10.
I gave it a 6.5 out of 10. Really enjoyed it. I just don't have the nostalgia glasses. If I did, I obviously would have liked it more. I would think of it in the same way that I think of some of the other Disney films.
Totally.
But yeah, no, lots of fun. Definitely a very loose adaptation of the myth.
Oh, yeah.
Like I would even venture to say, like the loosest out of these, maybe because it's claiming to be telling the story.
Right. It's supposed to be the retelling of the myth. Whereas
we don't even really get the 12 labors, which is the biggest part of the myth.
Well, yeah, I mean,
we get like a version of it, and like the different monsters that Hades sends are the monsters that Hercules fights in the 12 labors, but like the concept of the 12 labors is absent from this film.
You know, it's so funny because we've talked on this channel before about like children's movies and how like so many kids movies are afraid to go dark. And it's funny because like part of me is like, well, it's Disney, and I'm like, Disney has gotten dark before.
There are some scenes in like, I mean, we were just talking about Mulan that like were pretty scary and and darker.
Or like Hunchback,
they're very dark.
Yeah,
Hunchback gets real dark.
And like, I don't know, I think there could have been a way to incorporate the darker aspects, like because Hercules is a tragic hero.
Yeah,
like that's his whole thing. Even like I was thinking about like the change from him being Hera's son, where in the original myth it's like an affair, and I was like, well, obviously Disney like isn't willing to do something like that, but still, I don't know. So in the same way where it's like, oh, you could have been so imaginative with like the shot composition, I'm like, I feel like there's a way that we could have incorporated some of the darker aspects without having it be so like light and cheery.
Like I would have liked some sort of representation of like Hercules is going through with these labors kind of against his will. Like he has to do it. Where here the urgency is just like, oh, I want the people to like me. And like I want to be a hero and save them. And and I want to go to Olympus, where it's like I would have liked maybe a little more urgency in like the different monsters he fights, because they all just kind of blend together in that montage. And also, yeah, as I said, I don't love like always making Hades the villain. I just think that there are more interesting Greek gods to make villainous that are typically more villainous in the myths.
I think it's just easy in the way where it's like, oh, he's the god of death, so he's the bad guy.
Of course.
Yeah.
Which fine.
Right,
Okay. Yeah, wouldn't give up James Woods as Hades though. Like that just
right. If that's what we have to do to have him in this movie,
fair enough.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Because he's killing it.
But yeah, no, interesting movies this week. It was fun to sort of like revisit my Greek mythology phase.
It did have me like going back to, I had this like book when I was little, and it basically was like just an info book of like all the Greek gods and all the Greek myths.
Me too.
And I wonder if it was the same book.
It was like big with like a yellowish cover.
Yeah. Okay, it was the same
It
book.
was the same book.
And when I tell you, would read it cover to cover every night, like all the time. So it had me like looking through like my closet, being like, do I still have that book? Spoiler, I don't. It's in my mom's classroom at her school, which I was like, okay, fine. I guess like they would enjoy it more. But
yeah, I guess like I'll pass this knowledge down to the children of today, but I would have rather kept it.
Right. It's kind of my book, but whatever. But yeah, it did. It kind of brought on this like familiar sense of nostalgia where I was like, oh, it's so fun like being a kid and having like those geeky interests.
Yeah.
And Greek mythology is so interesting. And like I said, I love when it's put into media in new and interesting ways. And so it kind of combined like my childhood love with like my love for film today. So I was just having fun this week in a very weird, like, I don't know, sort of way.
I know what you mean. Yeah. And I honestly generally enjoyed I can say that I generally enjoyed all three of the films.
Yeah.
Obviously, Killing of a Sacred Deer was my favorite of the week.
Right. Like, obviously some more than others, but
and your favorite was?
Hercules.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But like you said, like even Troy, I was surprised that I didn't dislike it.
And I'm glad I watched it simply because I don't think I ever would have.
Same.
And I did think it was cool to see a blockbuster from a not so long ago period of time that just, I was too young for at the time.
Yeah, I totally agree.
But yeah, if you guys enjoyed, please like and subscribe and comment. It's always appreciated. We would love more context from any of you mythology heads on the Iliad, on any of the myths. What did we miss? What did we not address? What are your interpretations? We love to hear it.
Also, we will be back in our usual studio
next
time. So thank you for bearing with us in our new setup.
Yeah, in the new location.
Yeah.
Hopefully it wasn't too distracting. And next week, we will be doing another episode of TV Time. We're going to be talking about season 1 of Euphoria, which
oh boy,
I'm already in it. I'm already watching, and I have so much to say.
I have not touched season 1 of Euphoria, and I feel like I should have like a cigarette, like, oh, I haven't heard that name in a long time. I'm very excited and also very nervous to rewatch because I think I'll have a completely different opinion from the first time I watched it.
I know I do.
Oh, wow.
So we will see, and we will discuss not next week. We're going to have a hiatus for a week, but then the week after.
Yes.
We will be back.
See you then. I'm Maggie.
I'm Olivia.
Bye.
Bye.